Fucking check it. Pretty sturdy, although it is definitely front heavy. I would not do swings with this. God, it's so awkward.
Alright, same method as the Thorn's blade. First, we'll start off by grabbing a side profile image of the weapon online. Not 100% anime accurate, but whatever. Much like the Thorn's blade, it will be done in layers. That means several laser cuts. And once the laser cutter's done, we pretty much just move on to popping them out.
Pray to God, please. Please don't break. Okay. The laser cutter isn't 100% even. And there's always some bend in such a large piece of wood like this. Sometimes you're lucky. I just don't want it to snap these small pieces right here. Fucking hell. That sucks. I just have to re-laser it on a different piece. Like right here.
After the struggle session, it's just glue, clamp, spray paint this, spray paint that, spray paint this shit again, cut off a length of the long hard rod, cut a slot into the PVC pipe so that it'll fit over the axe blade of the halberd. So some of you guys who are more familiar with cosplay or PVC pipe specifically might be wondering, Fen, how are you gonna get this shit to hold up that giant halberd without bending? Because if this is going to be to scale, like 7 or 8 feet, a PVC pipe that long will bend under its own weight. That's why I'm going to be building it in 2 pieces, where the outer piece is going to have a wider diameter. That'll help prevent bending, but the main piece that'll be holding up the halberd will be shorter as well. Then it'll connect to another second piece on the inside. Don't get any dirty thoughts. It'll be braced together with bolts that have been dug into it, and it's really solid. So it'll help my friend be able to transport it more easily to and from cons, and it'll be the proper length without any of the risk of bending that you sometimes see with really long, heavy props. But yeah, still quite a bit of spray painting left to do, and pretty much just gonna get onto it. Once everything's been spray painted and glued into place, I moved right on to mixing and pouring the epoxy. Since this approach involves pouring the epoxy rather than glazing it on, I decided to be a little more careful and use some 1 milliliter plunger syringes just to be more precise on where I'm applying it. I also taped up the edges to create sort of a border. That's just to help keep it from flowing over the edge. Even with these methods though, I'm still new to working with epoxy, so I still kind of ran into some problems. Don't know if you can tell on camera, but the texture is a lot different. That's because some epoxy from the other side leaked through the hole, kind of got on here, and then it pretty much fused to that piece of insulation that I had it lying on. Pried it off, broke off a few pieces, but then I touched it up with some spray paint after I reattach everything and pried off the epoxy, but pretty much good enough. Just needed to finish up cutting some grooves in order to slot the handle on. Come on. After drilling in a few pilot holes, it was only a matter of screwing in the bolts by hand. This is a forearm workout. But I'm almost done. Almost done.
All these bones I'm cutting out are a little too long. Or a little too big. But not that much. It'll be okay.
That's my attitude with everything. All my projects. Fucking check it. Pretty sturdy, although it is definitely front heavy. Not bad, definitely good enough for carrying around. Just need to do a bit of touch up on some of the paint that I scratched off. But yeah, not too bad. I didn't have much time to take many photos or videos of the finished build, especially since I wanted to hurry up and hand it off to my friend.
But overall, I'd say that I'm pretty satisfied with it, in spite of some of the mistakes that I made. But I definitely learned a lot throughout this build, and came up with a few new ideas and methods for builds in the future. Once again, that Rory Mercury Halberd was a build for a friend, whose name also happened to be Rory. A bit of a shorter video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. I definitely enjoyed the build process and making this whole thing. Either way, I got blisters on my hand, just glad to get it done. And yeah, on to the next one. See ya!
Hey Rory, do you know why they call it Hall D?
These nuts.
Yup.